Hi guys, hi. Can you let me know if you can hear me and you can see me and yeah. Hi guys. Hi. I can hear myself. Michael, sorry, can you just turn the speaker off, please? Cheers. Hi, how are you all? Let me know if you can see me. That's brilliant. I'm seeing some people coming in now, so that's great. Hi, Dawn. And hear me. Yeah, I know you can hear me because I just heard it. Hi. Can see and hear. Good for you, Sue, because I can't see. I'm sorry. Right, so I've been in such a childish mood since about yesterday afternoon, haven't I? When I finished doing all the kits for Sewing Street, wasn't it? Because I completed it, I basically went into a bit of a child mode. But then I found out the fabric that I'm going to be demonstrating with on Sewing Street, so it's quite childish. Hi guys, hi. Right, so I'm just going to wait for a few more to come in. First off, welcome to anybody that's new. Hi, I'm Becky. You probably already know I'm Becky. What happens is 3 times a month I go live teaching you one of the club patterns or club exclusives, or sometimes it's not a club exclusive, but it can be a part pattern exclusive. So for instance, likes of the overnight bag there, that originally started off as a club pattern and it came in 2 sizes for the club members. Now when it came to public release, it only came as 1 size only, and in the pattern there was not much of a description, so the pages went from like 64 pages down to 40 something pages. So you do get more in the club because obviously you're paying me a monthly wage. Okay, people keep saying it's not enough. It is enough, trust me, it is enough for what you guys give me. Michael's giving me right evils here. What are you eating tonight? Oh, chocolate. Right, so you'll see me talk to someone over here, and I'm not talking to Percy Pig. I'm talking to my husband here. He basically operates the cameras for me, so we are operating still on 2 cameras, guys. I do have the cable. I opened it up today. I've ordered the wrong one again because the connection on the camera that goes there is a really micro thin cable, and obviously I've ordered a USB to USB when I technically don't need a USB to USB. I need a USB to something small, so I've got to figure out that one. Right, yeah, and basically, yeah, so any new members, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We break the pattern up. Oh, I've frozen. Okay, so. Okay, it's frozen. Michael. Oh, right. Keeps freezing again. Okay, so basically, what happens is I basically do the pattern over several weeks, so it's broken up so you're not bombarded, especially because I know there's quite a lot of beginners. Now if it keeps freezing, I do apologise. We are going to look into our internet. Obviously there was something at our end, but it isn't definitely, I know it's not us. Right, okay, thanks Becky. Right, so first of all, the people that supported the pre-order celebration pack of the hardware, I've had about 6 members message me asking about one specific piece of hardware which you got 2 of, and you want to know how to use it. So I'm just going to quickly run through that on the overhead camera so you guys don't basically,
you know what it is.
Yeah, so you know what it is, and just don't put it to one side and forget about it, because it's going to bling your bag out. So please, may we go to the overhead camera, please, Michael? Right, so I'm just going to grab the Walk With Me bag. Okay, so this piece of hardware, and for those that didn't get into the pre-order, there will be some, we are getting more pre-order stuff coming in for Christmas. So we are going to do a larger one at Christmas. So this came in, you got 2 of these with some micro screws, and it's got a back there. It's got a nice channel here. This is actually to eliminate, you know, this D-ring tab here. So whenever we make a bag that has a D-ring tab, you can go ahead, if it's got a nice beefy area around here, you can go ahead and pop that on and screw it into place. So for instance, let's just fold this back. Right, so you can basically just pop that on, pop the screws in. Obviously it will need some solvent glue, which is your Gutermann glue, and then that acts as your D-rings. So it's, and then you will have 2 on these sides here, and it just makes it a so much classier look. So yes, we have got a few of these coming in stock. We've got a few coming in next week into the shop. And then I've got the warehouse at the factory making some more for me. So they are coming. They come in pairs. I haven't worked out the costing, hence why they're not in the shop yet. I do know full well that they shouldn't have been in the pre-order packs, because the pre-order packs got a bit of out of hand. I actually put more in retail value than what I originally said. So I originally said £74. I know the retail value was up to 60 something pounds in the end. So you guys got quite a lot for your money. So you got double the amount for your money. So yeah, these are coming in. So watch out for those. They're going to come in silver and gold to start off with, because I have to buy a large amount, and unfortunately to buy all the 4 colours that we normally stock is quite expensive, but they will eventually come in all 4 colourways that we stock. Right, so we're going to get into making the Octavia. Now I've got to thank Lynn to it, who is my proofreader, for naming this, because it took us ages to think of a name, and basically she came up with the name because it's got 8 card slots and something to do with Octavia. Your octave has got like 8 or something. I don't know. Octagon. Oh right, okay, yes, 8 sides. Yeah, okay, thanks. Education by Michael tonight. Right, so we are going to tonight make the outer body, do the flap, which is this flap here. We're going to add the magnetic snap. We're going to add the I'm going to only make one of the card slots because it's the same process, and you can do that. Then we're going to end for the night. Obviously we're going to make the wrist strap first, and then the following sew along we will make this and join the whole bag together. Now my advice is, do not make this without me showing you first, because we need to eliminate the what do you call it, the seams, the bulkiness out the seams. And it is made as a separate unit. As you can see, there's a hole underneath. So if you want a piece of paper that goes from side to side and you just slide it underneath and then fold it up, that's possible. But please do not make this part until you've watched the following sew along. Okay. Alright, okay, yeah. Thanks, Michael. Right, so I'm going to show you what we need to prep. Okay, so I'm just putting my hand here because obviously I've used quite a starkling white fabric here. Eventually it will come in a pattern like this, and you'll notice here it says mini free wallet templates. Now Sewing Street are getting this straight away, and then you will get the templates as soon as the day after of Sewing Street. You get these templates. So basically it's to do a 4 card slot version. So it's half the size of this. So it's about this size and it's smaller. So it means that you can make a smaller version for teenagers or for gents or... Pardon, what was that, Michael? Anyone really, because I sometimes don't like carrying a big wallet around, so I carry a little purse around with me. So yeah, I could make a small one as my backup. So after this has been on Sewing Street, you will get this free. So don't buy this pattern, please. Don't buy this pattern. It will come free, and there will be basically in the actual downloads in the file section. Right, okay. So I'm going to run through everything. So first of all, you've got your main outer body. Now your main outer body, I say use a slightly heavier weight fabric. So for instance, I'm using cork because it's got body. You can use a PU or a cotton canvas. If you are going to use a standard quilter's weight cotton, please interface it, but then also cut some Decaville light right up until all the way around, and then just trim it back by 1/8 of an inch all the way around. The reason being is it won't have the body as what this has got here. So as you can feel, that's got quite a lot of body. So you'll need to basically make it heavier. Yeah, calf leather you can, Princess, but like I say, you need around about 1 millimetre or less in thickness. So I think that will be probably a grade 3, grade 2, if I remember rightly, grade 2. Princess, if you're not understanding that about the grades, let me know, and after the Facebook Live, and I will talk you through how to grade your leather, because I know you're getting into leather. Right, so with your main outer, if you have used PU, so I say on the printout, if you've used PU or quilter's weight cotton, you need to interface it. If you've used, for instance, likes of Princess, if you want to use calf leather, you don't need to interface it, but you will need to cut the foam. The foam is a must. The foam is what gives it the body, guys. I haven't interfaced mine because my cork is actually a grade A cork, which is a 0.9 millimetre thick. Now if it's anything below a 0.5 grade in cork, please interface it. If any of you brought cork from myself, it's all 9, between 8 and 9, 0.89 millimetre in thickness, so you wouldn't have to interface it. I'm just basically letting you know, if you bought cork from me in the past, in the pre-order, don't interface it. It's strong enough. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is, obviously on the back, fuse in the centre your foam, which has got a separate template. Then you'll need your body lining piece. Now your body lining piece is interfaced. Then you've got a Decaville piece, and I say in the instructions, do not fuse the small pieces of Decaville to the to anything, but also I should have stated, do not fuse the Decaville light until told to do so. So the Decaville light, you'll notice, is a lot smaller than the actual lining. You need to fuse it to the wrong side, right in the centre, because eventually we will be cutting back some of this. So if you have fused it, but if you fused it up here, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to recut it out again. It needs to be fused in the dead centre on the wrong side of your main body lining piece. So I'm going to fuse that and show you how to fuse that, because some people have never used Decaville before, so I'm going to show you that. Then you've got your card slots. Now the card slots, you need 2 pieces and you need to interface them. Now my advice is you need to use a medium weight interfacing. I personally tried a woven interfacing on this one, and the very first one I made it with medium weight non-woven on the card slots. I found the card slots needed that woven because they're going to stretch with the amount of cards that a person puts into it. So make sure you use either a very good medium weight interfacing, non-woven, or you can, Lynn, you can, however, I'm not 100% how sticky it will be to re-adhesive, put it back into the centre afterwards. So I would test that out if I was you. So use a woven interfacing if you can get a woven interfacing. I stock woven interfacing, however I have only got G700 in white or my own brand of Fuse It in black. So you need 2 pieces of those. Okay, and then you've got these little pieces of Decaville Light. Now this is going to come when we make the card slots, so don't fuse those to anything until I say so tonight, after tonight's demo. Oh, you did and it worked. Right, okay. So do what Lynn says. I know someone's fused it, I'm not going to name that person, has fused it in the top right hand corner or left hand corner, I can't remember in the conversation. Heat it up, peel it off like Lynn says. Obviously press your piece of fabric again, but obviously on the right side. Then flip it back over and then reposition it and put it into the centre and then fuse it. Right, so the next thing you're going to need is your D-ring tab. It's a small D-ring tab, so you're going to need one of those. You're going to need 4, oh, and that's interfaced. That D-ring tab is interfaced. Then you're going to need 4 zip tabs, and they're not interfaced because we're doubling it up. That's giving it enough body for what we actually need it for anyway. Then you need your main outer fabric or contrast fabric, whichever you've used for your flap. You need to interface that. Now my advice is to use a cotton weight for that, guys, because it's going to be bending over quite a lot. And PU can get stressed if it hasn't got enough oils in it. Same with real leather, it can get a bit stressed. And cork, you might find it a bit bulky to turn the cork when it's this small. So on the back I've fused interfacing, and then I went ahead and fused the fusible foam in the centre, which has got its own separate pattern piece. Then obviously I've got my lining of the flap, and then I've fusible interfacing on the back. And then the last 2 things are my wrist strap, which I have got interfacing on the wrong side, and then I've gone ahead and done the zip pocket. Now the zip pocket has got 2 outer pieces and 2 inner pieces, so that's your lining. All of them are interfaced, however 2 of them have to have fusible fleece. Now I'm hoping that you can see that. There you go. Got fusible fleece. Now this fusible fleece has got its own pattern template as well, so make sure it's fused into the centre, and you need to fuse it to the wrong side of 2 pieces. Hardware, you need a 6-inch number 5 zip with a zip pull. That's a number 5 zip. It has to be 6 inches because because the tabs are quite close to the seams, we need to have enough room for it to be able to push out. Now Lynn to it, bless her cotton socks, has tested this with a few other testers that are my secret testers, and she says, can I emphasise on how to get neat tabs, because sometimes it folds in. So this is the reason why your zip needs to be 6 inches, because it means it gives you enough space each side, and you've got to make sure you've got a constant 1/4 inch. So this is the zip. Then you'll need a 1 inch swirl clasp or lobster clasp, a 3 1/4 inch D-ring, a magnetic snap, which is either 14mm or 18mm, it's totally up to you. I've got a 14mm. And then, now in the pattern this isn't mentioned, however I want to add one of these because this one I'm making is for me. So I'm going to give you some additional measurements tonight to be able to put a handmade tag onto your actual wallet. And I'm aiming to put it around about there on the front, so it'll look a lot more professional, especially if you, I know some of you are going to make these for Christmas presents and that. So first off, last week we did the clutch, and I said I will do the wrist strap today because the wrist strap measurements and how to make it is exactly the same as the wallet. So I'm going to make this first. So we're basically finishing off last week and going into this week's. So I've got my wrist strap and I've used interfacing on the wrong side. I went ahead and pressed it wrong sides together, matching up the 2 long edges, and gave that a good press. Then I basically reopened it up, brought the 2 long edges into the centre, gave it a good press, and then I basically folded it again and gave it a good press. Now the next thing you need to do is get your 1 inch swirl clasp, and you're going to feed that on. So you've got raw edges still, so that's fine. First thing we need to do is close up these 2 edges. So we're going to bring those 2 together, open them up completely, and match it up. So basically where my folds are, I'm matching up those folds, because then it will fold really neat once we come to refold it all up together. Okay, so I'm going to go to my sewing machine and sew 1/4 inch all the way down, reverse my stitch at the start and at the end, and then I'm going to come back and press this seam open. I'm going to use a stitch length 2.4, and then basically I've got a size 16 needle, and I've got Gutermann Sew All thread in my machine. Please may we go to the front view camera. Right, so that's 2.4 stitch length and 1/4 inch seam allowance. Remember, most of this pattern is 1/4 inch, unless I state to change it up. Don't forget to reverse your stitch at the start and at the end. Okay, please want to go to the overhead camera. Thank you. So you're going to get your iron. The splatter fabric, Lynn, is actually from Macawa. All this range is the same range. It's from Macawa. Now I'm not 100%. I think this was Lib Elliott's. So it's not from Macawa. It's Andover Fabrics. I brought a fat quarter bundle from John's shop. Right, so I'm just going to press that seam open. Right, so now press that seam open. You're going to refold the folds. So you're going to take the two long edges back into the centre, keeping that seam flat. Okay, so it should look like that. And then you're going to refold it again. So it's the two long edges, two folded long edges meeting up, so the two folds meet. Now you're going to clip that seam. Then you're going to go all the way around, clipping, matching up. Matching up those edges. Okay, so if you've got a sleeve arm, you need to get it out now because this will save you a lot of hassle. You need to top stitch 1/8 of an inch away on both long edges. Now when you're going round, I top stitch from this side because I haven't got a sleeve arm. When you're going round, you'll be moving this out of the way, and you have to pre-move your clips, rolling it around, moving this clasp as you go. Make sure you keep the clips on until the very last minute, until you have to move that clasp out of the way, because it means it stops it from basically slipping over and it won't be a neat finish, and that's not what you don't want. Okay, please now go to the overhead, front view camera please, Michael. Thanks. Right, so I'm knocking my stitch length up to a number 3, and I'm stitching from inside. I'm stitching from inside, however the inside is actually going to be my outer fabric, so I'm going to twist it all the way around afterwards. So basically I've got the neater, my sewing machine's top thread stitches neater than my bottom thread, if you understand. Most machines have that problem. Sometimes it's the bobbin side that stitches neatest, and sometimes it's the top. Now I've worked it out on this machine, it's the top. On my old machine, my 720, it used to be the bottom, the actual bobbin side that used to stitch the neatest. So I'm going to stitch stitch length number 3, 1/8 of an inch away, and I'm going to do both edges. So, but I'm starting off with the one that's got the clips on the side. Make sure you reverse your sewing line to start off with. As you can see, I'm taking the clip out and then just moving that swirl clasp down. And then moving the next clip, moving that swirl clasp. Now you won't have to keep really moving the swirl clasp if you are doing it on a sleeve arm. It should catch at the back. However, like I say, I haven't got a sleeve arm. Just be careful not to catch the swirl clasp. Or I shall break a needle. I'm coming to the end of that side. Okay, and then just moving over and repeating the same. However, I don't top stitch very well on that side, so I'm just switching it over. Okay, please now go to the overhead camera, please. Thank you. Right, okay, so let me just get rid of those loose pieces. Okay, so because like I said, my top stitching is far better when I top stitch from the top. So I'm going to twist that so my clasp is on the outside and my top stitching, my better top stitching side is on the outside. Percy Pig says hi to you too, Laura. Right, so this is where my seam was, where I joined it together. I'm actually going to pop my swirl clasp about an inch away from that seam, and I'm going to clip it into place. So I'm basically bringing the two edges together and clipping that. Then you are going to top stitch about 1/4 of an inch away from that seam. So it's about here. So you should be approximately just coming off the seam inside. So you're going to top stitch around about there. If you want, you can do 3/8 of an inch. It's totally up to you. This is quite a large wrist strap anyway, because I'm a large girl, so I've catered for me. So if you wanted to, you can top stitch a bit further down if you wanted to. And then I've left enough wiggle room for anybody that wants to add a Chicago screw or a rivet. I'm not going to do that tonight because that takes up some time. However, there is enough wiggle room for you guys to add a Chicago screw or rivet there. However, my advice is still to top stitch, because remember, rivets are there for show, not for actually holding things into place. So I'm going to top stitch 3/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch away from that seam, inwards, well outwards shall I say, towards the hoop side, and then I'm going to reverse my stitch at the start and at the end. Now I'm personally going to top stitch on the other side, so I'm going to work out where that seam is. So I've made a mark on my better side, and then I'm just going to top stitch on 1/4 of an inch away. I'm going to use a stitch length number 4 to top stitch this because it's got quite a large amount of bulk. Please move over to sewing machine, please. Thank you. Oops. There you go. My sewing machine came a bit unthreaded through a loop, so I'll just put it back on. Yep. Please maybe go to the overhead. Thank you. Should just have a clicker box. Michael's going, yeah, freeze me up. No, play an Xbox. I need a clicker box to just be able to turn over the mics. Okay. Right, so I've top stitched 1/4 of an inch. That light's quite blinding, but I've top stitched 1/4 of an inch. My seam is round about here. So my seam is there, so it's 1/4 of an inch away. But like I say, if you need to do it 3/8 of an inch, go ahead and do that. Now that's your wrist strap done. That's exactly the same wrist strap as last week's, for last week's sew. So it's the same, so I'm not going to repeat it for both sews. So you're going to put that to one side, and now we're going to get on to the last bit of prep of showing you how to do the decaville, and then I'll get into making the wallet. So I've got the glue side. It's a really shiny glue side and a kind of a leather side on the right side. On the wrong side is like a thick glue. You're going to pop that approximately in the centre. You just need equal amount of gap around. Now I have mine on 2 dots, which is a medium heat. You can go straight onto decaville. If you've got anything on your iron that's sticky, put a pressing cloth on or Teflon cloth on top, and you're just basically going to hold it into place and pop some steam on and hold it. And you're going to hold it for about 10 to 15 seconds, and then you're going to move it on to the next bit. You're not going to rub, and you're going to keep pressing the steam And this is the same if you use Decaville Heavy. Now Decaville Heavy is a very strong substance, and we will be using that in the next big bag, the Kick the Bucket bag, because I wanted to teach about Decaville as well in that one. However, with Decaville Heavy, you do need to press it a bit longer. Okay, just that last corner. And then one thing I like to do is flip it over and just give it a bit of a press on the back, on the right side. Okay. Should always let that cool down so it gets that thickness again, because at the moment it's quite floppy, because it's a bit hot. It's alright, Percy, I'm getting out of the bath, you don't have to hide anymore. Oh, so funny, so funny. Right, so we're going to prep this first with the magnetic snaps. And then we're also going to do the extra added on piece, which is the actual tag as well. Okay. Right, so on the actual, did I give you any measurements? No, I didn't. Right, okay, so we're starting from scratch. Okay. So, okay, so we're going to start with the magnetic snap first. As normal, I'm saying as normal, but you might be a complete beginner and newbie. You've got two sides to a magnetic snap. So you've got one that's got an inverted dimple. That's the female. And then you've got one with a nipple, that's a pimple.
So the male's got a nipple.
But it's got an inverted belly. An outward belly button and an inverted belly button. Right, so the female has got an inverted belly button, and it's 9 times out of 10 the thicker part of the magnetic snap. Now the male part has got an outie and it's normally slimmer. So we're going to work with the female part first. You also get 2 washers. Okay, so you're going to pop the washers to one side. Right, so the first thing you're going to do is find the 2 centres of the 2 short edges, and you're going to find the centre of the 2 longer edges. So you're going to fold it in half. Now you should already, when you've drawn on your cork, you should have already your centre marks, but I'm just going to double check that. What's that? Innie and outie, yeah. Everybody laughs at my terminology. And I'm going to snip in 1/8 of an inch into the seam allowance, so I can find where the centre is, and I'm just going to fold it in half, matching up those corners to find the centre. Okay, so if you get any major creases, go ahead and give that a press. Now, if you've used cork or PU or leather, press from the foam side and put pressing cloth on, and all creases should drop out on that side. However, there isn't that many creases on mine, so I'm going to just get away with it. You're going to flip it over, and we're going to work on one of the shorter ends from the centre. We're going to measure up. So you're going to get your washer, and you're going to get a quarters rule. And we are going to measure up when I can find my measurement. 1.5 inches. And you're going to mark. So my centre is there and it's 1.5 inches up. So you're going to pop a mark on the outer. Then where that mark is, you're going to pop that centre hole over that mark and draw in those 2 slits. Okay. Then we need to cut through those slits. Now, I showed this tool last week. It's from Natasha Makes. It's dangerous as a seam ripper, but great as a cutting holes in for the fabric. I'll show it to you in a minute if you didn't see it. Okay, so it's got a little hook. It's like a craft knife, but it's like got a hook so it can right dig in at the start, unlike a craft knife can't really dig in. Okay, so you're going to get the female magnetic snap and the 2 prongs that are on the back. We're going to go through those 2 little holes. Now, if you have used a quilter's weight cotton, please, before you put this on, put some fray check onto that onto those 2 slits. You're going to flip it over, pop the washer over the 2 prongs, and it doesn't matter if you're an innie or an outie with your prongs as well. So you're going to either push them out or push them in, and then you need to cover that up. So you're going to get your duct tape or whatever you want to call it, or electronic tape, and you're going to cut a piece off and stick it over. Super strong stuff, this unicorn one is. Okay, and then you're just going to stick it over. The reason why we're doing this is when we put the lining fabric on, which is this fabric here, when we put this on, we don't want those any sharp bits to rip that lining. Okay, and then you're just going to pop that to one side. The next thing you're going to do is get your 2 flap pieces. So that's your main outer and your lining piece. We're going to work on the lining. So that's the one without the foam. I'm going to pop this on in a minute, guys, so I'll be back and I will show you in a minute, so I haven't forgotten about it. I'm going to fold this in half, and you're going to snip 1/8 of an inch in on the curve edge and 1/8 of an inch in on the short straight edge, which is the top edge. Okay. Then from that centre on the curve, we're going to measure up, and that's 1¼ inches, and we're going to mark. Just double check that. 1¼ yeah. Now we're going to get the female part of the magnetic snap and the washer and do exactly the same. We're going to pop the washer over that mark, and you're going to draw on those 2 slits. And then we are going to cut into those 2 slits. Now I'm going to need my fray check for this, or fray stop, depending on what brand you use, because this is quilter's weight cotton. I need that in a minute anyway. Just make sure you've got the holes in before you put some of this on. You're just going to pop a little bit in where those slits are. And you're going to let it go tacky, which is quite instantly actually, to be fair. And you're just going to pop the prongs through. So they should come through the back. Now the problem is, we need to pad that out. So you need some fusible fleece, leftover fusible fleece. So I'm just going to grab some, and you don't need that much. You need about 1 inch worth, if that, and then you're just going to pop two little slit marks in. So I just cut two little marks, and you're going to pop that over the top, and then you're going to get your washer and pop the washer over, and then pull out those prongs or push them in. I'm going to push these ones in because we've got a small area to work in here, so these are quite tough prongs. Okay, and then you're going to stick some duct tape or electronic tape over the top of that. Now I won't need all of that because I don't want it in my seams. Michael, put it in the bin. It's annoying. Right, okay, so you're going to get your lining piece and your main outer piece, the one that's got the foam. You're going to bring those right sides together and clip down the two long edges and around that curved edge. Okay, so I like to sew with the foam up. I'm going to sew 1/4 inch all the way around, but not sew the top straight edge. When I go around the corner, the curve, I tend to leave my needle down, bring up my presser foot and then move it around slightly. Keep it 1/4 inch all the way around. You don't want to go anything less, because anything more, shall I say, because it won't match up to this, and when you overfill it and it's folded, you might find the magnetic snap will come up on the flap, and it means that it's not going to connect onto this one. So please may we go to the front view camera. I'm going to use a stitch length 2.4, and I'm going to take it nice and slow around that curve to make sure it's nice and curvy. Make sure you reverse your stitch at the start and at the end. Now if you have a 1/4 inch foot, use it. Use it for most of this pattern if you can. I've got a 1/4 inch foot, but I tend to find I can sew better without the 1/4 inch foot. Okay, please want to go to the overhead camera, please, Michael. Thank you.
What?
What are you chuckling at then?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so this curved edge, we need to snip into it. So I'm going to snip into it as about 1/8 inch or just under 1/8 inch away from that that stitch line. Now if you've got pink and shears, go ahead, use pink and shears. I just need some new pairs. Maybe Santa might bring me some. Michael. Okay. Right, so we're going to turn this right side facing out. Now it's a bit of a tight squeeze, but it will come. Get your pokey tool up there. You're going to give that a nice press. Now, as you can see, even with cotton fabric, it was a bit of a fiddle, so don't use anything other than cotton fabric on the flap. Oh, okay, hang on. Just lost my live. Just bear with me, I've just lost my live. Okay. Okay. Right, okay. So, you're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch all the way around. You could trim back the seam if you wanted to, however, I try my hardest. Anything that is 1/4 of an inch, I try my hardest not to trim it as much because we've already got a less seam allowance. Now go ahead if you are confident to trim it back. I didn't want to trim it back on the curve because obviously I prefer snipping into my curves anyway, but if you want to, Sally, you can go ahead. Right, so you're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch all the way around. You're going to use a stitch length number 4 because remember we've got some bulk in there now. And then basically what I'd end up doing is sewing across this bit here as well. So we've got that nice and close ready for when we join the bag together at a later stage. Please when we go to the front view camera. Right, stitch length 4 and 1/8 of an inch away. God, it's hot in here. Whew! Make sure your needle is down when you go around that corner and you have to lift up your presser foot. And then I'm just going to close up that turning gap at the back 1/8 of an inch away so it's in my seam allowance out of the way. Okay, please let me go to the overhead camera. Right, so it should look like that and be a nice finish like so. It is nice sprinkly fabric. Right, so now we've finished with the magnetic snap, we're going to go and implement this, pop the handcrafted tag on. So the handcrafted tag needs to go on the side that's got the magnetic snap on the main body piece, because when this is closed up, this comes your front piece. Now there's nothing stopping you putting it on here on the back, that's up to you, but I found the best position for it was in this corner here, and it does make it look a different finish and a lot better in my eyes anyway. Some people don't like those tags and it's totally up to them. So we're going to work on this side here because there's my magnetic snap, but I'm going to flip it over. Now we found the center here. Now this is some measurements that you might want to write down for the magnetic, for the placement of the tag. So we're going to go 1 inch up from the centre, and then from the side edge, so that's 1 inch up from this centre mark here, and then from the side edge 2 inches and 1/8 inch over. So let me just, I'm going to get a longer meter roll, quilter's roll, sorry. So my centre is on this dominant line here. I'm going to measure up 1 inch. Oh, I've just moved that. I'm going to measure up 1 inch. Okay. And then I'm going to measure in 2 inches and 1/8. So that's 2 inches and 1/8. That is my centre. So I'm going to pop a mark right in that square there. Okay, that's my centre. So I'm going to bring my prongs to the back because I flattened it out. I'm going to work out which holes those go through my washer. No, it's not that hole there. Don't get stuck. Don't get stuck. It's got stuck. Right, okay, let's try again. Straighten those out a bit actually, to be fair. Okay. Right, so yeah, it is my 2 from the end slots. So how many slots is there in this? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that centre bar there is the bar that needs to go over that mark that we just did. So we've got 5 slots on each side. Pop that over. Now I'm just going to make sure that's equal and straight. So my centre is there. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop two marks through those slits that it pops through. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut into those and do exactly what I did with the magnetic snap. Okay, then I'm just going to pop this in, make sure it's the writing is going the right way up. Pop that in, make sure it's straight. Pop it over, put the washer over the top, and then just pop some tape on. Now you're going to have to make sure your tape's quite slim because we need to sew over this area here, and this tape has got quite a lot of glue on it. That's alright. To be fair, I don't expect everybody to actually turn up on time. I just like to... Is that the... No, it's the Natasha Makes one that I've used. However, I have got a Tula Pink seam ripper on order because it's just rainbow. But no, the Natasha Makes one is a lot cheaper, if you understand where I'm coming from, but it does the same trick. I'm going to bring my prongs in actually because that's quite close to the edge, so I'm just going to flip them into the centre, and then I'm just going to pop some tape over, and as you can see I've got quite a slim piece of tape. Okay. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is get this here and this. You know when you draw your templates onto your Decaville. I don't know how people do it, but I'm going to show you how I do it, so you guys got it for future reference. Where is my Decaville piece? Right, so I've got my Decaville piece. I pop it on, I draw around it, and I always put 2 little marks where that is, and then flip it over, and then match up the straight edge, and then draw around it again. It always gives me the centre then, doing it that way. So I'm going to extend the centre so I can see it here and here on the wrong side. Then you're going to get this, pop this on the centre there, and then what you're going to do is just peel it back and make sure you've got at least 5/8 to 1/2 inch all the way around free of Decaville, because you don't want to sew into that Decaville. Now you can draw around this in whatever pen you want. Make sure my lines are on there before I move it. Yep. As you can see, I've got an average amount each way, all the way around, as you can see. And then we're just going to trim this back with your pair of scissors. So let me just get my scissors. And you're going to trim it on that line that you've just drawn. Now I know a lot of you are saying, well, why didn't you just cut it out to the size? I did that on the very first 2 that I made, and it moved. It kept moving and moving and moving, and the Decaville didn't stay in the centre, or approximately in the centre. So I decided to make that piece bigger until we could get it, and then we can centre it correctly at this point. Okay. So you're going to just pop this on, matching up the curves and everything. Clip all the way around. As you can see, I do the curves, the centres first, the 2 centres and the curves first. Then I flip it over to make sure there's no bubbles, and then carry on clipping. And you're just going to carry on clipping round. Okay, so you're going to go round and base stitch this together using a 1/8 of a seam allowance. I'm going to use a stitch length of a number 4 to 5. I'm just going to go all the way around, and you don't have to reverse your stitch at the start and at the end. It's totally up to you if you want to, but make sure it's 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Don't go past the 1/4 of an inch. Please, now we go to the front of your camera. So I'm using a stitch length number 4, and don't have to reverse if you don't want to, and that's 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And you should be catching all the layers. That's the theory anyway. Yay, got it all. Right, please now go to the overhead camera. Please, Michael.
Pardon?
The overhead camera, please. That was my celebration. Oh, God. I take it internet went down. Because everybody has jumped back in. Or it could be my internet. Right, okay, so I've basically base stitched all the way around, and that's now one piece. So on this one here, you'll notice that I've got a rectangle sewn box. The reason why we do that, and it's gone through there, the reason why we've done that is so it gives you that square base finish. Plus also it helps out with the pouch section as well. So to do that, we need to work from the lining side. You're going to use a pen that will disappear either with friction of heat or a chalk pen. Now, where the two centres are, where's my scissors? There. Where the two centres are that you actually snipped into, re-snip into them, because you've got the lining piece now to work around as well. Okay. So where the two centres are, so one centre is on that line and on that line, you're going to draw a line from each centre to centre. So that's there, and you're just going to draw a line. Then from that line, from these two edges, you're going to measure in 1 inch and draw a line. Same with this one. Let's bring that down a bit. Okay, then from that centre line that we drew first off, you're going to measure 1/4 inch on one side and draw a line from that mark to that mark. And then you're going to go from this centre line to this side 1/4 inch. Okay, so you should have not the best pen and not the best fabric, but you should have a letterbox here. You're now going to sew just on the letterbox here, all the way around, and make sure you reverse your stitch at the start and at the end. I'm going to have to top stitch from this side, because you remember when I said I don't like top stitching, the bobbin side of this machine doesn't stitch very well. When I say very well, I mean as in it doesn't give a nice top stitch, crisp top stitch. However, I'm going to have to live with it because I need to actually be able to sew on those marks that I've drew here. So we're not going to touch anything on the centre or these lines here, we're just going to do that rectangle box. I'm going to use the stitch length number 4. Please may we go to the front view. Thank you. Right, so stitch length number 4. And make sure you reverse your stitch at the start and at the end. What is also happening is it's making the lining of the case taut. So when you fold it up, it doesn't go ripply, because that's one thing I did find on the mock-up that I did. It sagged a bit in the centre. So you're not wanting that, basically, are you really? Okay, please may we go to the overhead camera. Thank you. Just get rid of that and then I'll show you. Okay, so I've top stitched all the way around. Probably see it better on this side. So you should have a box. You should be able to fold it on those two edges, long edges, to create a boxy finish here. So I'm just going to give that a press to get rid of those markings. Now if you have used a friction pen, or if you've used darker lining fabric, don't use a friction pen, use a bit of chalk. Got cork in my head. Make sure that's all gone. Okay, so then we're going to pop that to one side and we're going to work on the card slots. Right, so I'm going to show you a diagram from the pattern, the actual main pattern that Sewing Street get first. This might be the time, not now while we're live, but whenever, yes, it is, Laura, it's a game changer. Well done, Lynn, for pointing that one out. So whenever this pattern goes live, and 2 weeks after Sewing Street have had it, you can get the full copy of this. But once this video has stopped going live, you can press pause and have a look at these dimensions. Right, so I've got these dimensions here. These are our card slot dimensions and how we're going to have to draw lines on the back of the card slot fabric, and obviously fold it at these positions. So I'm just holding it here for a little bit longer. Right, okay. So on the back of one of your card slots, now my advice is don't use a friction pen, use a pencil or a biro, a pen that's not going to disappear. I'm going to use a pencil if it will work, if not I'll grab a biro. Okay, so the first measurement, so we're working from this edge here to this edge to this small edge. So from this small edge we are measuring 4 1/8 inch. So that's 4 1/8. 4 inches and 1/8. Okay, and then you're going to draw a line from long end to long end. Then from this line you're going to measure 2 1/4 inches and draw another line. Then from this line you're going to measure in again 2 inches. Just going to turn my iron on for the next few steps. Okay. Then from this line you're going to measure 2 1/4 inch. And then from this line you're going to measure 2 inches. And then you should be left with about 2 3/4 inches at the end 2 3/4. Okay, I'm just going to grab a drink and then I'll show you how to press. Do you like what the kids, I'm going to tip it this way. Do you like what the kids' mom made me? A little stitch beaker, so cute. Right, okay. Yes, we do get on with the mom. Well, Michael's going moderately. Right, okay. You're going to need something that's got a sharp edge. Now, I use this cardboard. And this cardboard is acid free. And it's what I wrap my my fabric in behind me. So this is comic board. It's quite strong. You're going to need either Lynn pointed something out. It was a hem guide, wasn't it? A prim hem guide Lynn had, which is a cardboard. Or if you've got no cardboard, get a A4 piece of paper and fold it over so you've got a nice sharp edge. What you're after is a bit of strongness and a sharp edge. Sorry, Michael, can you just pass me a piece of A4 piece of paper, please, and I'll just show out the printer. So sorry. Yeah, I am awkward, I know. Thank you. Thanks. Right. Right, so when you fold a piece of A4, you get a nice crisp at the end and it's quite thick. So you could use this, but you just need something that's got a nice crisp edge and an actual, no, it's silicone. See, mine's a very old one. Mine's like a bright yellow one. Mine's cardboard. The original print one was cardboard, so yeah. But I think it was a hand-me-down of my mom. Mine was. So you just need something that's going to give you a nice crisp edge. Now the reason why we want this edge is so we can fold and press, but you don't want it to be plastic underneath. Silicone, yes, but not plastic. Okay, so we are going to start off with this side here, and we're going to finish off with the big edge, the big bit here at the end. So we're going to start from here and fold. So the first fold is going to be bringing the right side to the wrong side. Okay. So you're going to pop this edge of your card, bring that up a bit, to where that first drawn line is. Then you're going to bring that over, nice and tight, and press. Now I'm going to release that for me. Okay, because I'm a bit caggy-handed when I come to this. You're going to nice and press. Yeah, a metal ruler works. Sharon, did you find your metal ruler got hot? Okay, and then I move the card and give it another press. And this time I put some heat and some steam onto it. I've seen people cover the card. Yeah, card and foil. I think because it's metal, it will crisp nice and finer as well. Just gonna press that. What you want is a nice crisp finish. Okay. So then you're going to flip it over. So we've got the right side facing up. You're going to get your card and you're going to go searching for that next line. So the card I'm putting on the right side, and you're going to go searching for that next line. So my next line is on the edge of the card. I'm going to press it. move that card and then just give it a final press. Okay, so it should look like that at the moment. Okay, so working on the wrong side this time, you're going to get your card and pop it on to that line. Hold it, smooth it over, make sure it's nice and neat, and press. Move that card and give it one final press. Yes, but hold it on the edge. Right, so Sharon says hold it on the edge, the metal rule. I don't want no burnt hands on my watch. Right, so you should have your first card slot section done. I'm going to flip that over. So the folded bits are underneath and my wrong side is underneath. And we're going to go searching for the next line. So the next line should be around about here. Yep. So make sure that's nice and neat. You should have like some steps going up here. And they should be approximately about 1/4 of an inch, the steps, or just over 1/4 of an inch. Okay. And then you should, on this side, have some steps as well. That's on the right side. Oh, twist that around so you don't get confused. Then we're going to do the last one. So that's the wrong side still facing up. Flip that over. So the right side of the pocket, the slip pocket, because this part here is going to be a slip pocket, which is, where it is, that's one full slip pocket there. So we're doing that bit now. So this is the lining part of that. Oops. Then you're going to press. Press again. And then I go one step further, flip it over and press. Now you'll notice on yours and on mine there is an overhang here. That's fine, we're going to trim that back, but not at this point. So what I'm talking about is there is an overhang here. That's an excess, we're going to trim that back. Right, so these Decoville pieces that we cut, we need 3 of those. Now the reason why we've got these Decoville pieces is when you put the cards in, and if you're anything like me, I have 2 cards per slot and it stretches. So this will help keep it from stretching. So we're going to open this up but keep in those folds. So where's my pencil? Where's that gone? I can't be going mad, can I? Princess, don't answer that.
Not going.
Yeah, I know, Princess will probably laugh and going, yep. Right, okay, let me just go and get a pencil. Right, okay, I got a pen. Do you know, I'm going to find that pencil in a minute. Right, so this is the long side here. So if I open this fully here, this part here is the long side. This line here is where the first piece of Deckerville is going to go. So the Deckerville goes approximately just under 1/16 of an inch away from that line, and then you should have a gap, equal gap each side. And you're just going to press that into place. Don't worry about if the folds come unfolded, we're going to go back and redo it. Then this fold here I'm going to bring down. Going to get this next Deckerville piece and do it to that line there. So we have gone the third line in for the next Deckerville piece. And once again we're going to do it 1/16 inch away, and you need to have it clear on each side. Okay, then you're going to fold the next line up, and then you're going to finish on this one here, which is your last mark, and you're going to do it to the side that's got the thinnest step, not the larger area. And you're going to stick that into place. Okay, and then I'm just going to fold that up and then give this a good press to adhere all those Deckervilles into place. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is open these up, and you're going to top stitch each of top of these folds. So you're going to fold, top stitch 1/8 of an inch away using a stitch length number 3 on this first fold from edge to edge. Then you're going to do this fold from edge to edge, and then this fold from edge to edge. Make sure there's no other folds in the way, and you hold it out the way. So I tend to do the first one like this, then I open up that fold and do that fold, and then open up that fold and do that fold. Please may we go to the front view camera? Yeah, the other camera. Thanks. Okay. So that's 1/8 of an inch away. I'm using stitch length number 3. And you don't have to reverse your stitch at the start and at the end. There's no point because we're going to be trimming some of this back anyway. Okay, that's the first one. Then I've opened it up. Going to do the next one. And then I'm going to do the last fold, which is the one with the larger side on. Okay, please may we go to the overhead camera, please. So you should have it top stitched on this first fold, this second one and this one, and it should be nice and neat, 1/8 of an inch away. Okay, so we need to find the centre of this. I think I do give you a measurement. No, I don't. So you need to work out how much this measures, then divide it into 2. Yeah, if I open this up, so the Decaville is now stitched into place. Now, Pauline, because this is Decaville light, you can stitch over it. Decaville heavy, you can stitch over Decaville heavy, you just can't have it in your seams, especially if you're needing to turn something the right way out, because it won't give you a crisp finish. Like for instance, let me just close this up. Like this, it's got Decaville heavy. Now if I didn't have if I had Decaville heavy in the seams, this Decaville heavy here, there's a plastic base in here as well, would be forcing this out and making a nasty finish here. So you have to make sure with Decaville heavy that it's out of the seam allowance. With Decaville light, you can get away with it being in your seam allowance as long as it's only like 1/16 or 1/8 into the seam allowance. If it's anything more, try and trim it back before you go ahead and sew. But I have actually top stitched onto the Decaville on all 3 pieces. Okay, so I need to measure this and find the centre. It's okay, Pauline. I'd rather people ask these questions. So it's 8 inches. So we're going to find the 4th inch and draw a line from top to bottom. Okay, so I've drawn a line all over the slots. We're going to top stitch from the top, reverse our stitch at the start, and then we're going to come to this first fold. I mean this first actual card slot fold. When we get here, you're going to stitch a couple of stitches and then reverse stitch again. So you're going to go over that twice. Then you're going to stitch up to this one and reverse over this one, and then stitch all the way down. You don't have to go onto this bit if you don't want to. I tend to like to, because then it means that's nice and neat at the bottom. But make sure you reverse your stitch on this one and on this one for definite, because with the amount of times you're getting cards in and out, it means that it can take a lot of bit of room. Your pencil is on your sewing machine. Oh my, it's on my sewing machine. Thank you. Right, okay, so I'm going to use a stitch length 3.5, and make sure you definitely reverse your stitches over those bits there. Please remember to go to the front view. I lost my pencil, and my pencil was on my sewing machine, but I've gone and done the steps that I needed the pencil for. So, yeah. Thank you. So I'm sewing on that drawn line. So I'm reversing at the start, and I'm just on that pocket, that first fold where that first pocket is. Just moved over and reversing, and I've done all the reversing. I'm just going to go all the way down to the end. Okay, please maybe go to the front view camera. Okay, So as you can see, I reversed my stitches just over those. I only did like 2 stitches on both. Just gives it that help. I'm just going to get rid of that marking. Okay, and then we're just going to trim this section off, that overhang bit here, to this edge here. So you can get a broach cutter. Make sure it's straight as well, guys. Oops. Right, so you're going to grab your main body piece, and I'm going to attach this side, the one without the magnetic snaps on, because then I can show you what to do after this bit, because that'll be the last step for tonight. So where those centre marks are on the lining piece, go ahead and snip it into the, sorry, where they are on the main body pieces, snip into the lining piece so you know. Right, so going from this side. Where your centre sewn line is, this bit here, you're going to match it up to the centre line here. So I like to pop this on my mat, make sure it's square, and that's my centre line. So I'm going to pop that. So I'm matching the edge of my my card slots to the edge of the body. So that's the edge of this body. You will have an overhang on either side. It might be that you might have a thinner overhang on this side and a larger overhang on this side, or equal amounts, it doesn't matter. First off, you're going to clip that bottom bit. I like to go one step further at this point, and I didn't say this in the pattern. I just like to measure to make sure this is perfectly straight, which it is. Then I just pop 2 clips on these 2 corners here. Now you're going to flip this over. You're going to go to your sewing machine, and you're going to base stitch on the base stitching line that you've already got on this section, and you're going to reverse your stitches at the start and at the end. And what should happen is we're now attaching the actual card slots to the main body. I'm going to use a stitch length number 3. Please may we go to the front view camera. Thank you. Make sure none of those folds are going to get caught and fold upon itself and you stitch over them. And they fold upon themselves and you have to unpick it. Okay, please may we go to the overhead camera, please. Right, okay, so I have stitched that into place. You've got your main slip pocket, and then you will have 4 card slots where you're going to trim back the excess. Won't the card slots fall out when pointing down? Pardon? Oh no, they're not pointing down. So when you're folded it like that, your card slots are pointing up. So when they're down like that, they don't fall. That's why you need the Decaville. If I get a card. So I've got an old top-up card that I use. Pop the card in. And it's not coming down. The whole point of that Decaville is so it holds it in tight. And it stops it from stretching, especially if you've got two cards. So for instance, if I fold this up. I've got a piece of folded up paper and a card. They are not going to come down. Trust me, I've tested that out, Heidi, so they're not going to fall out at all. Okay, so you're going to flip this over and just trim back this excess to the main body. Right, so I'm next on Sewing Street with this pattern on the, Michael, what's the October date next to you? Is it the 25th? Not October, I mean the August date?
Hotel or show?
Show.
25th.
25th of August I'm next on. Yeah, Heidi, I tested this out. I made about 4 mock-ups before I went ahead and actually decided to write a pattern for it. Also with when I used to make the Emma line ones, which is the necessary clutch wallet, I used to actually add Decaville in as well, so it means that it gives it a tighter finish. So we've done that one card slot. You will go ahead and make the next card slot. I'm going to do that off camera over the weekend, and you will attach it onto this side. Now the last thing I'm going to do is pretend I've got the extra card slot attached. You're going to flip it over and you're going to get your flap closure. Now you need to find the centre of that, which we already have, but we didn't snip into the main outer. Just make sure that's correct, yeah. And then you've got this edge here. So where your magnetic snap is on your body needs to be the opposite side for this one. So your right side to right side of your flap to right side of your body piece. Match up those two centres, so that's my centre and that's my centre. I'm not going to base stitch this in because I haven't got my cards. Oh, I have got my card slot, it's that side, yeah, just ignore me. You're going to base stitch this in 1/8 of an inch away, and then basically we will move on to the next step and the next sew along. In the meanwhile, you could make your binding. So the binding is 1.5 inches strips on the bias, which is a 45-degree angle, and you can make your bias. Now if you're new to my group, I have actually done a bias binding, how to cut bias binding, how to make your own bias binding video, and the link is in the spreadsheet. However, if you don't want to use the spreadsheet, you can pop over to my my YouTube channel, and it basically teaches you the exactly same video is on there as well. Go ahead and make your bias binding, because the next sew along we are going to make the zip pocket. Now the zip pocket is made slightly different. We are going to leave some raw edges, but you can't see those raw edges at the end because the bias binding covers it all up. Please, when we go to the front view camera. Front view, please. Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael. Wow, that was hard tonight, Michael. Right, okay. So next week is my off week. So if you're new to the group, I basically do 3 in a row, or try and do 3 a month lives. So next week I'm having off because I need to get everything done for Sewing Street. Then the following week I will be back with you guys and finishing off this wallet. And then the following week after that is the night that I'm at the hotel. But I will let you know the next sew along that I won't be doing a live the opposite week, the following week. Can you tell us the length of the bias binding needed, please, Becky? Is that not on the print type? Yeah, so you need 1.5 inches wide by 70, no, that's my dyslexia coming out, 47 inches long. That has to definitely be on the 45-degree angle because we've got 4 sharp curves to go round on the 4 corners. Honestly, don't have to thank me. This is what you pay me for, remember. But thank you. Thanks for being polite. Thanks for being polite. But no, honest, wait until, so get this far, and I know some of you said you've already got 4 or 5 cut out already because you've got gifts coming up and that you need. Just wait until the next sew along, so that's not next week, the week after, for me to show you how to attach that pouch, because that pouch you do not want any of the bulk in the seams, especially where the binding is, because it's going to be a nightmare to sew on. Honest, don't thank me, please don't thank me. I don't know how to take thanks. But no, yeah. The camera case is designed on the computer, ready for me to print out and have a go at making it. My question is, I've already put on the poll what kind of bag you want to do next. The poll is in the group. I need you to vote. I know the convertible's quite winning at the moment, however there is the duffel and the sling bag coming up closely behind. If you want me to do all 3, I will do all 3. However, it's going to come into order of how it votes. My other question is, so I don't know if many of you watch Sewing Street or whatever. I made Vic's baby girl, Maisie, a teddy. It's about this big. And it was done on my embroidery sewing machine, my embroidery machine over there. It's in the Hoop project. However, Sewing Street have asked me if I can design a teddy bear for them, because I see they haven't got many people on Sewing Street that can see 3D objects and take it apart and be able to build it back up again. And they know I can do that because I did it on Sewing Quarter. When Joe Carter left Sewing Quarter, they asked me to take over the toy section for them as well as the bag making section. So I'm in the process of doing a doll, a teddy, which is what I've started designing today. Haven't I, Michael? Yep. And I want to know if you guys would want to be taught how to make that before it goes on to Sewing Street in October. If that's the case, let me know and I'll happily show you. And it's not on that, it's all done on this. It's all sewn by the sewing machine. So if anybody wants to learn that, I need to know what you guys want me to teach. I know bag making is a must because that's who I am and that's what most of you are here for, but I just didn't know whether you want me to just chuck in a few extra different things in the mix. Percy is drunk. Yeah, Percy is definitely drunk. Yes, please. Lynn, what is the name of your machine? Yeah, I'm rubbish at 3D. Yes, to the teddy. Yeah. Okay, that's brilliant. So I'm going to do the teddy after the next bag. So the next bag is this one. Then I'm going to do the teddy, and then I will get on to whatever wins in that poll. So you need to vote, please. Oh my god. Michael, what are you doing? Right, okay, I'm going to go. And Percy says, we're going to finish watching MasterChef. Not sponsored. So we're going to go and finish watching MasterChef Australia, because we started watching it just before. A mix is good. Pardon, what's that? What? The bun? Not sponsored. Yeah, right, so next week is my day off. However, it isn't a day off. You can ask me whatever you want in the group. It's just I just give Michael a night off, basically.
You never have a day off.
What, me?
Yeah.
I never have a day off. Conversation I'm constantly always having with Michael. I need to take some time out. But when I do take some time out, I sit on that sofa, do a bit of reading, and I'm bored. So what do? Come back to work. But we plan to take a long weekend off soon, don't we? Later on in the year. I don't know if I can leave the work. I'm getting evils. Yeah, we're going away. Right, okay, I'm going to say goodnight. Percy Pig, say goodnight. Goodnight. Michael says goodnight. Have a lovely evening, everybody. See ya.